Hello, hello, everyone. How's it going? Happy Sunday. Almost April. I am going to adjust my camera now that I'm on here. Or not, because my setting is not up. I'm just popping on early like I normally do because, well, I like to adjust my camera settings. I think that's close enough. I don't want to be so close that I forget to zoom back out. So, yes, I'll wait a second for people to pop in since I did start early. Today, though, we are going to use the Derwent Inktense. I am using a water brush, though, with them, just because I usually use either like a Tombow or a alcohol marker blender. But today I'm using water brushes for coloring with the Inktense, just because I've had some requests. And it's been a while and I enjoy doing it, so why not? Water brush wise, though, I'm not gonna lie, I don't actually sit and use the same like brand. I don't just sit down and go, I'm only using this brand. Honestly, half the time I use whatever has water in it, but I have like a Tombow here. I actually really like the Tombow water brushes in case you're looking for a recommendation. And then of course the Kuretake ones, which I also love. And then the Pentels, which, yep, you guessed it, I also like those. So that's why I've got 3 different brands out. I never just go, oh, I'm only going to use my Tombows today. It's not my thing. If I have a brush I like, I'm just fine using it. Let's see. Hi, Brooke, Stephanie, Dragon Quester, Topeka, Mandy, Lorianne, Laura, Wilcox, and anyone I missed. So yeah, today we are coloring in Dark Fairy Tales. Now this is the new latest and greatest from Kerby Rosanes. I did a flip through on my channel. I really like this one. I kind of made a lot of, jokes that I was going to color it all bright and cheery. But then when I went to pick out my colors for this page in particular today, I was like, yeah, I want to do something dark. So here we are. But I'm not going to do traditional like flames and whatnot. I'm going to do something a little different. I didn't want to do flames in oranges, at least. So I do plan to order another book. So one that I can do super bright. But for this one, I was actually thinking when I looked at it, it's flames. But I wasn't picturing like orange and red and all that. I was picturing dark purples, some blood reds, maybe some very light touches of like a tealish color. And then, of course, grays and blacks. But it'll be interesting. However, the flames and whatnot are all going to be in purples and blues. Fun fact, a really hot flame is actually blue and not orange, but no one knows, not everyone knows that. So, but most of them are going to be done in purple. I want to do like a purple and teal thing with the flames. We'll see how it turns out. I don't know. This page was calling to me, and we'll see how far we get. There's a lot of repeating things that I'll be working on, and then I kind of have to decide how I want to do some stuff down here. But yeah, we will see. And then I am going to give away a copy of the book today during the live stream only. And it will have to be someone in the US, just because I'm sorry, but I just cannot afford to deal with the currency conversions. So it will be US only. I do need to get to like PDF giveaways or something, but yep, one lucky winner will get a book for themselves. All right, so let's talk colors that I am doing. It's going to be really funny because I'm the opposite of my little pastel spring nails, but whatever. Okay, so today we are going to play with, or start with, the color Nightshade, Mauve, Amethyst, and Malibu. Now, unfortunately, the only one of these that is not in the 100 count set is, or I'm sorry, the only one that's like in the 72 count set is mauve. These other three, you need the 100 count set. The 100 count set, though, is on Amazon now. So, like, you can either go buy the full 100 count set, or you can still go to Cult Pens and buy the 28 set that gives you 100. But before you do that, I recommend checking out the video I did for that because some of the colors you get, the new 28, you actually don't need. So go watch my video. It's a while back now, but check that out. And honestly, I would go to like Blick or something and just grab the open stock ones that actually make sense and save yourself some money. That's just one girl's opinion, though. You don't have to. There's no rule. All right, now I got to remember to keep my hand out of the way. I'm like, okay, I'm doing Inktense today, so that means sometimes I like to like go, I don't know, across the page this way, but I can't because I'm doing Inktense, which means it's going to be wet. So yeah, we'll play around with Inktense, make some purpley flames. I think the background I'll probably do in like a watercolor or something. I don't know. I need to kind of wait and see. But I'll activate them with water brushes this time. I've had some requests to do them with water brushes. And I actually like Inktense in Kerby books. It's one of my favorite ways to do Kerby books. And then, of course, these flames I am totally going to go over with like a huge thing of my dark holographic glitter. I've decided it'll be fun. Not today because I got to wait for everything to dry, but I already had it pictured in my head because there's this bottle of holographic glitter that I've had forever. And I'm like, gosh, I need to really use that. So I was like, hey, this page would be perfect. Make sparkly flames. It's a fairy tale book. It doesn't have to be real. Let's see. I'm going to put this here. So yeah. Sorry I didn't stream last week. I think I streamed the week before. It's been a really crazy few weeks / month / year / whatever. I don't know how else to explain it. It's been a busy, wacky. March especially was kind of weird, and now my kids are on spring break, which is odd because they normally don't go on spring break till close to Easter, but Easter is like April 20th or something. It's really out there this year. So busy. But I've been editing my third book because it goes let's see, it publishes on the 11th, so I'm doing some last minute changes, and so that's been keeping me really busy. And then I'm just like, I get so burnt out that I'm like, oh, I want to do a live stream, but live streams do take a lot out of you mentally. I don't know how to describe it. You got to read the chat, you got to color, you got to do all this. Then by the end of it, your brain is like, I think I'm working still. So it's hard to explain. But yeah, we're going to play around with these colors here. Plus, I have so many projects going on. I'm doing the color combos for y'all. I say for you guys, but it's for me too, because now I can finally have them all in one place. It's kind of fun doing the color combo project because I've had to go back through like seriously 8 different notebooks, going through old like YouTube videos and like picking up combos I just dropped there but never wrote down. So it's kind of nice because I'm forcing myself to organize my own list of combos into one like place. But I'm working on that. I'm almost done with the blues for Prisma. The thing is I'm actually separating teals, excuse me, teals and blues. So like when you see my blue sheet, you'll be like, wait, where's all the tealish colors? They're going on their own page because I have a lot of teal color combos. How this is going to look when I activate it, no idea, because I didn't test this color combo ahead of time. Gonna live on the wild side. I really need to clean out my water brushes, though. Ugh. Hi to everyone that came in, and I might have missed you. Sorry. I was in the moment. All right. Now, when you activate Inktense with a water brush, your best friend is a paper towel and or rag, like literally right next to you, because you need to wipe off your brush, especially when you get into some deeper colors. Like, because I have this blue here, but I don't want my purple to take it over. I'm trying to keep my hand out of the way, so apologies. But I activate light to dark and then kind of just like wiggle it in there. And then you do what's called scumbling, where you kind of just dot, 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 dot. But that helps prevent any weird, wacky lines. But yeah, like when I'm activating this blue here, I'll wiggle it into that purple, and then I wipe off my brush. And then like when I touch a darker purple, I wipe off my brush. You do a lot of wiping with the water brush method. Now, if you're using the alcohol marker method, you still need to wipe off the nib a lot too. Just not quite as much because you don't have the same dragging effect that you get when you're using a water brush and activating these with water. And then, of course, if you put down one layer of Inktense and you don't like, the saturation, you can just wait for it to dry and go back. One of my favorite things to do, though, is actually go back with a dry pencil and then just add some accents. You can do that. In fact, that's what makes Inktense really cool, is you go back and do some shading with the dry pencil after. A lot of people just activate and run away, and I'm like, wait, no, you can still shade it. It's fine. There's no rule saying you can't. All right. No, caps don't matter. Sorry, my mods aren't here yet, and I also forgot to tell my mods I was going to stream today. They'll show up eventually. Yeah, because I've been so, all over the place with streaming, I totally forgot to say, hey, I am actually streaming today. But no, caps don't matter. I put it in caps just so you guys can see it. But you won't be, Nightbot won't disqualify you for doing lowercase. However, don't enter it more than once. That will get you removed because it has a spam filter on that. So just keep that in mind. All right. I try to look up while I'm working on the dry part, because while I'm activating, I kind of have to move a little quicker, especially on this paper. This paper's good. It's smooth, so it doesn't soak in super quick, but it still soaks in quick enough to where you're going to leave lines if you don't get a move on it. Oh, I love the smell of Inktense in the morning. I love the smell of Derwent pencils in general. Best smelling pencils on the market, Derwent. Let's see. Will my next two be on audiobook? Yes, actually, book 2, they're recording right now. And then obviously the book 3 comes out on Kindle and paperback on April 11th, and then they'll start on that. And then book 4, because I finally caved and agreed to do it, we're actually going to release the audiobook at the same time, which means book 4's Kindle edition and paperback will be a little bit further out than the others. We're actually kind of looking through to see what date would work for that, since we still need to get book 3 done. But they are recording book 2, and book 2 should be out by June, the audiobook, at the latest, possibly sooner. Kind of depends. Like, they'll record some clips and send it my way, and I give feedback and whatnot, but it is underway. It just takes a while, especially because I'm doing duet. So, like, they each have to record and then edit, and because they record separately. When books are done in duet, they're not actually sitting next to one another recording. Some have done that in the past, but those are like specials, Usually they're recording on their own, and then they have to like edit it together, plus just edit out everything else. So it takes longer. But it's fine because it's better that way, or I like it that way. I like duet. Can't listen to a book that's not duet. Like, So yeah, that's why it takes a little longer than your average audiobook, but it's worth it. I do have some free audiobook codes for book 1. If you go over to my Instagram, you'll see that I put a post up for it. And you can just respond to that if you want to get a free code. There are stipulations to it, so just FYI. Oh, yes, you got one of the freebies, huh? Yep. They give us a few freebie codes, which is nice. In fact, if any of you are in the UK, I need some more UK peeps to give some free codes to. Audible UK, because they're actually separate from Audible US, which is lame, but whatever. And sadly, they only give us the codes for Audible US and UK, not any of the other ones. Because I did have someone from Australia, and I'm like, I'm sorry. All right. The narrators are so cool. So I talk to the female one like all the time. We've become really good friends. We do video chats every couple weeks to like meet up and talk about the book. They're both huge book nerds like me, so it's really fun to work with them. And they'll be narrating all of them, so it makes it easier because they know all the characters and stuff. But oh my gosh, they're a hoot. I think our last meeting was like 3 hours long. We just sat there talking books. It's like our own little book club, but it's kind of fun. So it's not like just, a regular narrator where you hand them the transcript and be like, okay, see you when it releases. Like, we kind of have like a little friendship going on. All right. I want this one to have a little more blue up here, but not too much. I might even go back and add some other colors. Yeah, it will be the same people through this whole series, and probably my other books too, because I have all my books are going to interconnect in some way, even if they're a different series. So we'll be working together for a while. That's why we kind of meet up. In fact, my narrator, she's helping me with book 4. We literally sat there and spitballed for like an hour and a half back and forth on ideas. It was pretty fun. And then after book 4, the closed door editions, we'll start working on those. So for people who don't like spicy chapters, the closed door editions will come out, but they'll come out as a box set. But they will start on those after book 4. But those are coming eventually, probably like end of the year, because I mean, I still got to do book 4. Can only write so fast. Let me check, Brooke, and see if it still has you listed as entered before. No, it still shows you as entered, so don't type it again. Because if you do, it'll boot you for spam. That's good to know, though. If you get disconnected, it still keeps you in there. And then last time we did a giveaway, at least it didn't pick people who didn't enter, because it did that for like a few weeks straight. It was so stressful. I was like, wait, you didn't enter? Okay. Cool. The joys. All right. Yes, definitely type in fairy tales. I was like, what should I do for the keyword? I was going to think of something like witty, but then I thought, let's just keep it simple. I don't know about you guys, but it's a Sunday morning. Yeah, sure, it's 10 o'clock. I've been up since 5, but for me, it still feels too early to be too creative word-wise. I can color. Sorry if I'm clearing my throat a lot. We are officially in spring here. We were doing some spring yard cleaning yesterday, and now my allergies are paying for it. Yeah, I woke up like, ugh. I was pulling weeds and all that fun stuff, and now I can feel it. So how many of you guys have the 100 set of Inktense versus just stuck with the 72? Or even, hey, who has a smaller set, like a 24? Believe it or not, you can actually get away with a small set, and you can just mix and blend colors to make new colors. It's a little more work, but it can be done. You don't have to go buy the huge one. I, on the other hand, have a collection addiction, so can't help it. I'm always curious how many people have upgraded to the 100 count. On Amazon, it's like, if you buy the whole 100 count, I think it said it was like 180, which sounds steep. But let me tell you something about Inktense pencils, okay? I have had my Inktense pencils for years. In fact, gosh, I would have to go back and look and find the video of when I like did a swatch of when I first got my Inktense, but we're talking 4 years ago at least. I know I've had them for a really, 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 really long time, and I have never had to get an open stock color yet. So, like, even if you pay $180 to buy that 100 count set, yeah, that set's gonna last you forever, because I do a lot of Inktense, but you don't use them up as quickly as other colored pencils. So it's kind of nice. They're like that one investment that actually sticks around. But yeah, I have never had to even get an open stock yet. I'm still waiting. I don't even think I have a pencil that's like halfway used, and I do a lot of Inktense. And I'll be doing even more because I am going to do an Inktense combo series since it was requested. But yeah, you just don't go through them quickly. I mean, like, even now, while I do, this live stream, I'm probably not going to have to sharpen these. So that's the thing about them. They last a long time. And they're actual, like, professional artist grade, all that. kind of nice. But yeah, 180 is not a bad price. Because I saw that and I was like, ooh. But then I thought about it and I thought, you know what? Considering how much I spend on Prismas and restocking those, yeah, that's not much. Let's see. Hi to everyone that came in and I missed. Sorry. You only have Prismas. Hey, if there was only one pencil set I could ever have, everyone in this chat could totally tell you what set that would be. If I had to literally give up every set I ever owned. But please don't make me do that. I need to move my thing over. Yes, I like Albrecht Dürer. I use them and have them. I don't use them as often as I used to, but I do like them. I also have the Supra colors, which are from Korilynn. It's like, so Korilynn Pablos and Supra colors go together, just kind of like the Polychromos and Albrecht Dürers from Faber-Castell go together. So I have those. I also have the Korilynn Museum Aquarelles. Do not recommend those for adult coloring, just FYI. But yeah, I do have the Albrecht Dürers, and I really do like them. I've done quite a few videos on them. They're a fun pencil, that's for sure. Most pencils that you use, water to activate, so Albrecht Dürer, even Inktense here, they're always going to last you longer than a pencil you don't, just because you end up using less. You have to put down less, you sharpen less. Now, if you use your ADs, Albrecht Dürers, dry, then you'll probably go through them a little quicker. I use mine dry only to accent, like on top of after like I've activated it, I'll go back and use it to like do some shading, but I don't color with them dry much outside of that. So I do like them though. If I had to pick between the Supra colors and the ADs, I would definitely go with the ADs. Where's my super thin? I need to find my super thin Tombow. I have one that's like so pencil thin, it's perfect for these little itty bitties. There's nothing wrong with using the budget pencils. I mean, pencils like Inktense cost a lot of money. And really, the reason I have a lot is because I have a YouTube channel and I buy them to do reviews or tutorials, so that I can like do reviews and tutorials for pencils that people have, because not everyone has Inktense. So I'll get like a cheap set of a different kind of pencil. But yeah, there's nothing wrong with using only what you can afford, and Arctics isn't bad. I'm not Arctics' biggest fan, but that's just because I'm a Prisma gal. But they are still a good budget pencil. Heck, Crayola makes one killer watercolor pencil. I kid you not. I used their watercolor pencils and I was like, what the heck? This is Crayola? Like the color vibrancy, I was just shocked. Had to even double check. I'm like, I am holding a Crayola, right? Like that's a Crayola in my hand? Because what on earth? So yeah, don't let those budget ones fool you. And as long as you're not doing like commissioned artwork, so like super expensive, light fast and all that, you don't necessarily need that just to color a freaking coloring book. Now, if you're doing commissioned artwork, light fast matters, but if you're not, well, you don't need to bother with that. Let's see. Hi, Mona. I really do love Inktense. When I first got Inktense, I was very flustered using them. There is quite a learning curve with Inktense, especially depending on how you activate them. Each way is a little bit different. Water is the hardest. So that's why I always recommend if you're new to use like a colorless blender and practice that way first. But like once you get used to Inktense, I find them very fun. But when I first got them, like I said, it was quite a few years ago. There weren't any videos out there on them. And I was like, what do I do? There was videos from artists, but not like adult coloring. So I was like, how do I use this in a coloring book? So I followed like the artist tutorials, and then I kind of started, finagling them into my books, and yeah. But no matter what, there is a learning curve. So if you get Inktense and you're like super frustrated, don't be. Just keep playing around with them. It took me quite a while to get the hang of them. And then also, a lot of people use them differently. Like, everyone does their own thing with how they do combo colors, how they activate them. So you got to kind of find your own stride once you get used to the like main concept of them. But like, because my favorite way to activate them is a colorless alcohol blender. But I don't mind the water brush either. But like I said, if you're new, I highly suggest you do a colorless blender, even the Tombow one, which is water-based. It's a little more forgiving than the water brush. And then once you get the hang of it, then move on to the water brush. Of course, the one sucky thing with the water brush, because I didn't tape this page down, which I should have, but hindsight and all that, is the crinkling of the page. And I am too lazy to iron a coloring page. I think I did a video once, actually showing, because you can iron your pages out, right? Make them straight and flat again. I did a funny video once showing me put my little arm weights. They were like 10-pound dumbbells. And I was like, this is the most action these have ever gotten, because I literally put them with a bunch of books on top of my book with crinkly pages for a few days and let them flatten out that way. Screw the iron. In fact, I don't even know where my iron is. I know I own one because my son used it for prom, but don't ask me where it actually resides in my home. All right, I think I got it all activated. No, do not put rubbing alcohol in a water brush. I've had a lot of people ask me that. And I know there's people that do that, and hey, to each their own. But do not do that for a few reasons, okay? First of all, that's a lot of rubbing alcohol that you're going to inhale straight up. Because when you have a water brush, any brand of water brush, they have different amounts of water that come out. So you're going to actually get more rubbing alcohol coming out than you would with just a marker, right? And then if you squeeze too much, here's the thing. So when you're doing the colorless marker blender method, if you get too much of that on there, it actually soaks up the pigment and takes away your color. Well, that's going to be 10 times worse when you have it coming out of a water brush, because you're going to have more coming out than what you would have in a marker. So that's two reasons. Then the third reason is you will most definitely have bleeding through to the next page. If you use this method, you won't have bleeding, but if you put rubbing alcohol in your water brush, it's going to bleed through. So you're going to not only inhale an outrageous amount of rubbing alcohol for no reason, but you're going to dilute the color, and then you're going to get bleed through. Do you get bleed? I saw someone ask, bleed through with the alcohol marker if you do it just straight on paper? No. I do it all the time, and it doesn't bleed through. In fact, you can go back through on my channel and you'll see quite a few videos where I'm using the alcohol blender. But please don't put rubbing alcohol in your water brush. I know there's a lot of people out there that are like, yeah, go, I do it. But they're like, not only is it just going to suck up most of your pigment and ruin the color anyways, it will not be vibrant like this. But that is not something you should inhale. I mean, when you're like, when you have an alcohol marker in front of you and you're breathing that in, that's just a little bit. But in a water brush, that's a lot of rubbing alcohol to sit there and inhale, which is just not good. But yeah, I could list tons of reasons, but those are my top 3. Because I have seen some people do videos doing that method, and then I have to be the meanie weenie that's like, guys, please don't. And I'm not even doing it to be critical. It's like it's just not a good idea. No. You can just get these colorless blenders. I usually just buy 6 packs on Amazon. Any brand will do. Like, seriously, do not go and buy like an expensive brand. I buy whatever's the cheapest that week. And the reason I don't refill these with rubbing alcohol is because by the time I'm done using these with Inktense, the nibs and everything are just so torn up. It's just easier to go buy a new 6-pack of them. There was like a Panda Fly brand, and then like Ohuhu had a sale on theirs. So look, I have a lot of Ohuhu ones because they had a sale on their colorless blenders. Do I wear a mask? I don't wear a mask for if I'm using the colorless blender, but it's not very strong. It's just like using an alcohol marker. All right. Let's see if I missed anything. Got the tin this morning of, the artists. Wait, Derwent artist pencils? I don't think Amazon sells the wooden box of 100 of them. Do they? They used to not. You had to go through Pulp pens, because I have the 100 count artist pencils. It's like a collector's edition. It's in a wooden box. But yeah, you can return it to Amazon. Amazon's really easy to do returns to. And if for some reason their automated returns don't let you, just hop on live chat with an agent. Seriously, they're like really good about it. Because I had, for example, my Etsy store had, one second, Emily, I'll answer that. My Etsy store, I had gotten a bunch of clamshells that I used to fill for wax melts, but they were all defective. And unfortunately, we had no idea they were defective until we poured the wax melts into the clamshells. And then when it turned out they wouldn't close shut because of a defect that you couldn't see. And so Amazon was like, their automated thing said I couldn't return it because it was used. And so I hopped onto chat and I'm like, well, I can't return it because it has product in it. So unless you're going to pay me for the product. But 2, like, yeah, I didn't find out they were defective until I used it. And they were really good about it. They were just like, oh, okay. And then they refunded both boxes. So yeah, if the automated thing doesn't work, just hop on live chat with an agent. Amazon's actually very good about it. They do not give a crap. They've got money to blow. Okay. It should be on my Instagram, but you know what? Maybe it was on my TikTok, now that I think about it. Just message me on are you looking on my Instagram for my book account or my coloring Instagram? Hang on. Oh, thank you, Shannon. Shannon's here. I was just about to say, oh my gosh, I wish Shannon was here so she could link my author account, and then she pops up like the little link ninja she is. Freaking Shannon. Do you know how many times, like, I'll be in a stream being like, my mods aren't here yet, and then I'll mention a video, and then that's when Shannon makes her debut. She pops a link in. Like I said, she's a link ninja. But yes, yeah, you want to check that one. It should be on there somewhere. But if you can't find the post, just message me on that account and I'll get back to you. She was looking for the free Audible code post I had put up, Shannon. All it is a post saying, hey, do you want a free copy? Because I had so many slots. But maybe I did it as a story. Can't remember now. But either way, just shoot me a message on that account and I'll get you a code. Because if you send it to my colorfully optimistic one, it's hard to keep them straight. I'm trying to keep things separated as much as I can. Sanity and all that, which I have very little of right now. Yes, I am happy that I went with the purple flames. I like this, and I think it's going to look really good with this one glitter. After I activate these, I will grab that glitter and show you. I really need to start using my stickles. If I don't use them in the next couple months, I'm destashing my stickles. It's like I keep forgetting I own every single stickles color. For Pete's sake. This is what happens. You get all this stuff and then you're like, it's too much. I don't know what to use. Let me find it. The glitter. So I have two. Not sure which one I'm gonna do, but they're both black. They're both the same company too. Interesting. One's a little chunkier though than the other, but I'm gonna put this on top of the flames. I know it looks like super. Gosh, these have like started to harden on me. There's a trick actually to get through that, but they look really like thick. But once I spread them out on the flames, it would look totally different. But that's my plan, or what I was picturing in my head, because I need to use those. Again, more examples of like things I buy and then I'm like, I didn't use those. All right, so we got that part. Oh, there's a little doodad right here. Only reason I'm not zooming in more is just because there's like a lot of space I'm covering and I don't want to go off camera because I tend to do that. Destashing pencils. So I did do that like little mini destash with my like pencil regrets. I think I destashed I know I destashed a few in there. But I don't know. I need to go through my other pencils. I have a lot of sets of pencils. Ooh, this is a weird one. That I don't use, but they're not necessarily ones I want to get rid of because I usually keep them around for certain like reasons, like my Derwent Artists, right? I've got that 100 count box set. Okay, I'm trying to figure out, I'm going to make that part of the flame. I've got that 100 count box set that I don't use, but I wouldn't destash it because I do break those out on occasion when I'm feeling like nostalgic or want to hurt my wrist and color with a very hard, low pigment pencil. But I don't know if I'll have any more pencils to destash. Stickles, there's no rules in art ever. If anyone says there's a rule, then stop listening to them. I've been saying that forever, and I really don't care if I tick people off with that one, but it's true. I have a huge pet peeve about rules. Even color theory, I'm like, listen, half the time I ignore color theory, so So I've had people go, well, you just mixed a warm and a cool. And I'm like, and it still looks fine, doesn't it? So we're good. But yeah, there's no rules for where you put stickles. Put them wherever you want glitter and little accents and whatnot. Oh, it's fine. On the name, I should have finished that sentence. It's crazy hair. Let's see. I swear I did a post on it. Oh, maybe it was a post for ARC readers. I don't know. I have gotten every Monday I sit down and schedule all my social media posts for my book account. I sit there and record a bajillion TikTok videos. Yep, that's right. I'm a TikToker now. Woo! Not happy about it, but it is where you have to go. But I've got so many posts that I put out, but I make them so far ahead that sometimes I don't always remember which one's which. I swear there was a post for it, though. No, there is a post. Actually, I remember the post. It has headphones and the two things showing the audio. Yeah, I know there's a post out there. It was right around when it first came out, so the beginning of March. Haha, there. I know I made one because so they're like, I remember designing it. Then again, maybe I designed it and I never posted it. There's a high probability that happened. All right. I'm not really saying what colors I'm using, but I did mention at the start, but I'll tell you guys, since quite a few of you have just, popped in over the last wee bit. I am using Inktense, obviously, but the colors are Nightshade, Mauve, Amethyst, and Malibu. Now, Mauve is the only one that is, from the 72 count set. You would need the 100 set for these other 3 colors. Sorry, but I really, really liked these purples. Had to use them. That was one of the nice additions to that extra 28. They added some really pretty purples. And then Malibu, that was a color they really needed. Well, shouldn't say that. You could water down any of their blues and get the Malibu color, but if you're going straight to paper, not as much. I'm debating how I want to do. I am just going to fill this all in because it doesn't make it super obvious right here, but I'm just going to make it all part of her flame hair. I don't know. Guess that's what we're going to call it. Just makes it easier that way. I can see that it ends here though. And that's fine. So how many of you guys got this book? I'm curious if a lot of people went for it. I know it's kind of like dark and it's got some elements that aren't really everyone's jam. Honestly, I didn't think I was going to like it, but I really like it. Because, I don't typically buy, the horror books, there's those, the zombie ones and whatnot. I don't usually buy those. But this one, I was like, oh, I got to get it because it's Kerby. And then after, going through it, it's like, actually, I really like this book. I was excited anyways, just to see how he would come up with and, change up fairy tales. So I was intrigued, but I didn't know if it was going to be up my alley just because I don't typically do that style of coloring. Like all the horror stuff. It's like a fire main. I don't know. Still debating how I will do her face, but I'm gonna wait on that because I'm gonna do like the candles below, and like because I want to put in some deep like blood red accents, but I don't want to put that on her outfit because that'll look weird. So I'm gonna have to think on that. I might like put it in the candles or something. I don't know. Like I said, I didn't really go into this with a big plan other than I was like, ooh, these colors look nice. And for some reason, I wanted purple and blue flames. So sometimes that's literally how I start a page. Like, I want purple flames, and that's where we go. No other plan. And also, if you're wondering if there's like some sort of strategy to where I'm placing color, not really. I'm just kind of putting it where I think it would look nice once I activate it, but I'm not like worrying about anything with shading other than when I add the dark purple. I try to add it like under elements where it looks like it would be shaded. But yeah, like these other colors, I'm just going, yeah, that looks good there. Yeah, it is dark. Like, so if you're not into like the darker stuff, I can see where it would be a turnoff for some people. But it's so Kirby. I mean, if you think about it, he puts skulls and stuff like in all of his books. It's not really off-brand for him. It's just the one time where he just went full bore with it is the thing. So I saw someone that was like, this is just so not Kirby. And I'm like, I don't know. Did you not see like, that one page where it was like nothing but a pile of skulls? It was pretty on brand for him. If you ask me, I don't know. In fact, I think I colored the page that was like a bunch of skulls. What book was that in? It was in one of his older ones, back when he still did like the doodles and hidden objects, the things that drove me mad. And I still to this day just color over them like they don't exist. I'm like, oh, what's that? A card? We're going over that. I don't need that pen there or that candlestick. All right. No, not the 30% off code. I had put one on there for like free listeners or listen for free. But yeah, just shoot me a message on that my author account. Words hard, difficult. And I'll just find that. I'll grab a code. There's so many posts on there because I think I post, or I know I post at least once a day. Okay. I think we'll put this here. It's kind of like Medusa hair, but with flames. And I've got a big plastic sheet underneath it, so it's kind of getting in my way at the moment, but whatever, we're fine. It's all good. Compilation book will be interesting. Like I said, I'm going to get another copy of one because when I did the flip through, I was like, gosh, I'm so tempted to do like all of these pages in super bright, like happy colors. Not neons, because me and neons are not close, but speaking of neons, I came across a Color listing for like all neons. I was like, oh no, where has the pencil world gone? It's gone downhill, that's for sure. I tried that neon challenge. I think I did it with Emily, right? The neon challenge. Oh, that was rough. I'm not a person that uses neons. So yeah, I'll use bright colors. It's just actual neon, like fluorescent. Ooh. But no, I think I will get like a copy and just do it in bright colors and then like some in pastels and like just complete opposite of what you would expect for such a dark page. Because it just seems fun. Like, what's that? That's all dark and cheery. I'm gonna make it hot pink. Put some pastels in there. I kind of consider these like purple flames, like magical flames. That's why I'm going to do that dark holographic glitter. Be all sparkly. I do have a glitter pen that's dark as well. I just don't know where I put that thing. But I need to use up those folk art paints anyway. Let's see. Yeah, those color neons were I don't remember why I found it. Oh, because someone had asked me to review the Color top notch or whatever the heck they are pencils. So yes, I did get those. They came yesterday. So I'm going to do something with those, but I was asked to review those, and that's how I stumbled across the Color neons. I'm like, what are we doing, Color? They're really trying to branch out there, I guess. Let's see. Just make that one blue. Malibu does blend really nicely into purples. Like, how many is it? Is it like 50? Isn't it 50 in that neon set? I don't know. I swear it was like 50 or something. It was a ridiculous number of colors. But you know how there was the pastel train? Every manufacturer came out with their pastel colored pencils. And we all jumped on board. Now it's like the neon train, apparently. I'm not jumping on that train. I refuse. So if for some reason I do jump on that train, you all can remind me of this very moment when I said I would not do that. But now I've got like so many pastel colored pencil sets. And the one that I actually like, you can't even buy anymore. The Indra ones, ugh, I love those ones. $72, that's even worse. My gosh. Whew, my eyeballs. Like, I know when I did that neon challenge, I just had to like grab neons from all of my pencil sets. But I mean, your average pencil set comes with a pretty good chunk of neon colored pencils. And I have, because I did the Felissimo subscription, there was a few where they were all neon pencils in your Felissimos. So I had a good chunk of neons there, but 72 neon pencils, dear goodness. That's a whole lot of brightness. I'm kind of curious how close together they would be, though. I mean, you can only neon so much. Well, if I think about it, I'm just trying to figure out how they would make 72 neon colors. It'd kind of be like with pastels. You'll have some that are so close to one another that it's, if you run out of one, you could probably replace it with the other one and no one would be the wiser. Because there's only so many ways to create a fluorescent color. And fluorescents aren't light fast, but again, if you're just coloring in a coloring book, that doesn't matter. But just FYI on that one. Hey, look, it's finally giving me the option to skip ads. If I see it, I try and click it. But if I don't click it in time, apologies. I don't remember if I went in and adjusted the settings before I went live on this one. I always feel bad about the ads, but I'm sorry. The ads do support my channel, so if you end up watching them, I apologize, but I thank you at the same time for watching it because it helps support my channel so that I can do this. But I do try to skip them when I see it pop up too. All right. I think that'll look. I need some more dark. Right in here. One thing, like if you're using this nightshade color, when you put it down on paper, it doesn't look as dark, but when you activate this bad boy, it is dark. So just keep that in mind if you're ever using that color. And then also with Inktense, if you like, the more pencil you put down, the more pigment you're activating. So always go with a lighter layer because you can always go back and add more, but you cannot take away. So that's just something to keep in mind, because like if you go over and like I use a very light hand when I'm putting down my Inktense, which is rare for me because I'm not light-handed. That's also why my Inktense have probably lasted this long. But I do just a very light coat and put it down and see, like, even just a light layer, this is how vibrant it is. So if I were to sit there and actually like put down a heavy-handed layer, I don't even know what the heck I would get. But yeah, the more you put down, the more it's gonna be. But nightshade, I'm just warning you, when you put it down, you'll be like, oh, I need to add more. Nope, don't activate it first. Because that one is deceiving. It's hard to stay in the little line there. I don't know why so many people are worried about the light fast and coloring books, but I've had a lot of people asking about light fast, and honestly, I think it's just because the term gets thrown out there. But really, if you're not doing commissioned artwork and you're coloring in a coloring book, the light fast doesn't matter at all. And also, fun fact, any water-soluble medium like this or watercolor pencil, the light fast rating would only mean so much anyways, because there are several variables, such as how much water did you put down when you activated it? How much pigment did you put down before you activated it? So just FYI on that one. But yeah, light fast doesn't really matter unless you plan to pull this out and stick it on a wall under gallery lighting for the next 100 years. So, and make it a family heirloom you pass down. Like, I don't use my light fast pencils, like my Luminance or my Derwent light fast, unless I'm doing portraits, because I tend to frame my portraits and put those on the wall in my art room, or I give them away to family and friends. So I'll use them for that. But even then, half the time I use Prisma. And no, Prisma do not have glorious light fast ratings compared to other brands. But again, it's a coloring page. Yeah, some Prismacolor pencils have really bad light fast. Not all of them, though. There's some that are fairly decent. But that's one thing they're known for, is not the best light fast rating. But if they had super high ratings, then you would be paying what you pay for Lumis and Derwent light fast pencils. So all right. Try to get that purple without covering up any of my blue. And also trying to keep my hand out of the way. Yeah, my big thing is, can you get it open stock? Because if not, I really don't want it. Or refills, like so with markers. Can I refill it? Because again, if not, no thanks. Um, those are two big things for me because like there's certain colors I'll go through. Oh my gosh, if Prisma really didn't have open stock, I would die. But luckily, they've had a lot of good sales on their 150 set, so I can keep restocking there, but they do still have open stock. That rumor got really out of hand for a while there. All right. See, the other thing with light fast, I have to make sure I activated it. I'm like, is that line activated? All right. Sorry, I tend to get quiet while I'm activating because I'm so focused on getting the pencils activated and wiping my brush and not making muddy colors. But then I check chat after or when I get to like a point where I can actually pause without leaving a water line. Water lines will haunt me in my sleep. I'll go to sleep tonight seeing a water line if I leave one. Okay. I don't know why I only did that little piece there. Don't want to add a pink, but I'm almost tempted to add a different color in here too. I can't decide what I would add. I'm going to keep rolling with it and see how it's done or how it looks when it's all dry. And might go back in and just shade it with a dry pencil a little bit in some spots. So is anyone watching any good TV shows lately? I have not watched TV in forever. I keep trying to like sit down and watch TV. Then I get bored and turn it off. Like I can't find any shows that keep my interest. I tried watching Virgin River. I got like to episode 8 and I was like, all right, and I'm done. No offense to anyone that likes it. I'm sure it's a great show. It just wasn't for me. I've been listening to audiobooks instead. But like sometimes you just want like a show on, you know? Something you can like veg out in front of and just completely, I don't know, not think. Because if I listen to an audiobook, that still requires some thinking. I'm absorbing the book. If that makes any sense whatsoever. I don't know. Like a TV show for me is a little bit more mindless, I guess, than an audiobook or something. Yeah, I can't seem to find anything to watch. Sixteen and pregnant. Huh. What's that on? I haven't seen that. I haven't even seen anything for that. Like they have all these new shows popping up on Netflix and Prime and Hulu. And now everybody has the same shows too. So like one show that I know was only on Netflix is now on Hulu too, and I'm like, what's going on here? And also, why am I paying for all these subscriptions? I really need to cut back on my subscriptions because it's like you can get HBO from Prime now, and you can like everything's so intertwined. And then there's all these breakaway channels too. It's like, oh, for Pete's sake. I'm starting to actually miss cable. I don't know if anyone else does, but I sure am. least it was just one service. I mean, I liked medical shows. Like I watched ER and Grey's Anatomy, and I tried that one Crapola, whatever it's called. Tried the Chicago Med one, and I was like, this is cheesy. Again, no offense to anyone that likes it. Oh, I did try that show, The Resident. It wasn't too bad. I got a little bit in there, but I don't know. It just wasn't holding my attention. And maybe that's a problem. Maybe I just am in that stage of life where TV just doesn't do it for me. I don't know. Because normally these are shows I would watch. Like I'll sit there and be like, I just want to binge something, and then nothing to binge. I want to go back to the day when Game of Thrones was new so I can go back to that. On April 11th. I know. I have ARC readers that are like, hey, where's Rico's book? And I'm like, so about that, I'm fixing something real quick and I will get it to you ASAP. But I've been going through and adjusting just a few things here and there because I can't help myself. But yeah, I do have to get that one going. Let's see here. Okay. And I do actually need like 3 more ARC readers for my next book. I know there's an Instagram post for that one. I knew it. I made that post like last week. So if you want to be an ARC reader, you can pop on there to that. That one's going to be really funny. Because even as I'm editing it, I'm sitting there laughing out loud like a maniac. Let's see. Noah Wiley in Pittsburgh. Interesting. Yeah, The Resident wasn't bad. I couldn't watch it. I don't know. Like I said, it's not a bad show. Like it's something I would normally watch. I'm honestly starting to think I'm just like, I don't know, at a stage in my life where TV doesn't hold my interest. But then I'm sitting there like, well, I can't sit in silence. But then I sit in silence. So maybe that's my brain's way of saying, yes, you can and you will. I don't know. Yeah, there's quite a few TV shows out there. Movies. Oh, I made the mistake of watching a movie last night that I fully regret. Whew. Nothing like going through an hour and a half and being like, what on earth did I just waste my life on? All right. I mean, I'm open to watching a lot of things, but I guess it's all in my mood or depends on my mood. I used to just sit and watch YouTube as well. Like I'd watch tutorials or like I used to love at night watching people do watercolor painting. I don't know. It's very soothing, relaxing. But I don't even do that. Like I don't watch YouTube as much. And the problem is like if I try to read late at night lately, I just fall asleep literally with my Kindle. Like I'll wake up because my Kindle fell and like smacked me in the head. That's my life right now. Can't tell you how many times I have like woken up, just bonk my Kindle right in my forehead. It's not like it's a heavy Kindle. It's just one of those little itty bitty paperweights, but still, That wakes you up and it's not pleasant. But I keep dozing off while I'm trying to read at night. There's so many books I read that I'm like, gosh, could this be a show already? Because that would make my day. Oh, the watercolor. I do need to work on the next comparison video, which is yellow ochre. I do have all the yellow ochres. I just need to work on it. I think it's actually going to be bigger than the indigo one. Because I even found some obscure brands or brands that you normally don't see as often, but they're out there. So I got to count them up. And then I was so mad because I realized I bought a tube of yellow ochre that I already had in another brand. Really need to quit doing that. Okay. Man, I want hair like this, just wild and blue and purple and all this. I mean, without the flames part. Well, the problem is sneaking a peek at the end of that movie wouldn't have helped. Is the in between. I was like, But then it's like, you tell yourself, well, I'm already invested. I gotta watch it to the end, and maybe it'll get better. Or maybe after I get to the end, I'll be like, oh, I'm so glad I did that. And then afterwards, you're like, nope, still regretting that. Yeah, I honestly think I'm just in a phase where TV just doesn't work for me because there's these shows that are great and I can't even seem to watch them. I think that's probably the problem. It's not the shows, it's me. My brain is on strike from television. It's not the worst thing to be on strike from, I guess. Get some blue up here. So I'm leaving some space for that. I really do like this amethyst color too. It was a nice addition. I guess if you don't have the 100 count set, I could tell you colors to use instead of these, now that I think about it. Or close enough, because you're not going to be able to make Malibu unless you water down one on a palette and then paint it on. So let's see. I need to get this side, but I need to twist the book. One thing I didn't like about this book were the pages that go this way. I was like, oh, why did we do that? Those ones were a little wacky for me. I mean, I'll still color them. It's just an awkward way to if I color in bed, it's kind of a weird way I gotta hold my book. All right. Okay, so what movie? I watched that 365 Days. Read the book. Can't say the movie's the same, huh? It's interesting. That's all I gotta say. Okay, so if you don't have Nightshade, use your Deep Violet. They're very close to one another. Mauve is in the 72 count set. I don't know on the 36. I'd have to double check on that. Amethyst. So the thing with Amethyst is this is their light purple. Now you could take your mauve and put it on a palette and just water it down and then paint it on if you want your light purple. If not, I would honestly, it's going to be a little bit rosier, but I would honestly just use your Thistle in place of that one. And then Malibu, there's nothing super close. Like I said, you would have to water it down on a water a different color down on a palette to get that light blue. But the next closest thing you could do is use your dark aquamarine and just use it very lightly, or iris would be a good one. And they would go together. Oh, Grace and Frankie. I saw it on Netflix. I didn't watch it, but I saw it on there. All right. Where did I leave? Oh, yeah, that one. Like, where did I leave off? Activating and not activating. I think I'm doing okay at keeping my hand out of the way. Sorry if I'm not. Really, I'm trying. It's just holding it at an odd angle when I'm activating. And my brush, by the way, is not super wet. I have it pretty light on the water. Like I can, I put it like across my hand, and I would just see a very faint water line on my hand. So I have it damp. I don't want it super wet because one, these colors are really close together. So then I have a very high chance of accidentally dragging Nightshade over everything, and then all we'll have is dark purple. But also, I don't want a ton of bubbling on my paper. This paper is a good cardstock, and it takes watercolor really well. But, I mean, it's not made for watercolor, so you want to keep that in mind. But these activate really well with a damp brush, and then also your color stays vibrant. The more water you add, the lighter it's going to be. All right. Okay. I see the chat moving, and I'll check it in a minute. You said it's so hard when you're activating Inktense. You're like, I don't want a waterline. Hang on. Oh, no worries about being late. Never apologize for being late. It's your Sunday. Oh, good. My hand isn't in the way. I'm always worried about that. Feel bad. I'm like, sorry. There's those times you don't think about it until you see a comment and you're like, well, there it is. Do my best. Plus, this is like really high up on my book for me. So I'm like leaning over my table, and I don't want to smack my camera with my head. Because my camera is right there. It's always fun when you have a YouTube channel, right? And you're filming and you smack your camera and you're like, well, there's 2 thumbs down automatic right now. It's almost, if you're a creator, you would get the joke, I guess. And I don't edit it out because I am too lazy to edit. So, like, well, my head hit it, whatever. Might need to get a little more water in this one. I didn't bring a water cup in, so I don't want to have to or to refill these ones, the Kuretake ones, because they have that little weird system of theirs. You have to kind of like squeeze it into a thing of water. Can't just pour water into it like my other ones. Ah, got a husky hair. There we go. Is one thing I love about Inktense. You put them down and they're pretty dry, but when you activate them, I don't know, it's like magic. Just watching them pop. The colors just come out so much more vibrant. And then when they start to blend into one another, it's like this just pretty little wash of color. I find activating Inktense with a water brush incredibly relaxing. So if you're stressed, just put some Inktense down on a piece of paper. Doesn't even have to be like something you're coloring. And just activate it and just let your pen glide over it and just watch the colors come to life. At least for me, it's very, very therapeutic. Oh, a water line. Well, I don't have any because I've successfully avoided them. Yay me! Waterline is basically when you're activating watercolor pencils or Inktense like this. Say I stopped like halfway through. So say I had like this section here and I activated it and stopped. This would dry while this wasn't wet yet, and it'll leave a line across it because that's where the water has dried. So when I activate this side over here, I would have to drag it over that line to cover it up. Do I have a spare piece of paper? Because that would make this a lot easier. I always have spare paper, don't I? All right. I will make a water line. Let's get a... And also, bigger areas, you get bigger water lines, or it's easier to make a water line, should I say. Now this is printer paper here, so it's kind of crappy it's for Inktense, but it'll make an even better water line. All right, so I've activated it, right? But see how there's these lines here? See the little lines in there? Hopefully you guys can see those. Those are the water lines because I haven't activated over here. So I have a line here and a line here. And these lines are pretty well defined. So when you have a water line like that, you either have to activate what's next to it and try and cover it up, but it's not going to cover it up because, see, it's already dry. So even if I come over here and come back over, the water line's going to stay no matter what. What you have to do is add another layer to get rid of the water line. So that's what happens if you take a break and you haven't finished blending your color before it dries, you get that water line. But that's all you got to do is just avoid taking a break and keep your lines smooth. Like, so when I activate, I'm always like keeping in a squiggle and I don't stop unless I have somewhere to go. Can I show what the book underneath? This book underneath? I have like 4 sheets of paper right here. It's not going to bleed through. See, it's just wet. Can I show how I shade with the dry pencils? Yes, I can, actually. So For example, over here, I could take my nightshade. You want to make sure it's fully dry though, so it needs to be dry on this side and then also on the back side. If it's not dry, do not put your pencil down, please. But I just kind of go in and like I would want these a little darker. I do it very lightly because you can always add more later. Like right in here, I would definitely add my color and shade it out a bit. And you can also shade with other colors. You don't have to use the colors that you activated. Like I'm just adding a little bit to darken these up here. Like I definitely want to darken here. Add a little more here to darken it up. You don't have to activate it again either. So it's just letting me add my shading. Yeah, you can go and shade with a different color or the same color. That is entirely up to you. Like sometimes I'll go in with a different color if I want to. But then also, like, say I feel, let's see, do I have a spot where I feel like the blue? Okay, right here. One thing you got to be careful though is make sure that your paper isn't starting to pill, because if it is, it's going to start breaking apart when you add a second layer a second wet layer, not dry. But say right here, I wanted a little bit more blue because it's kind of faded out a little. So I'll just take my blue. And I'm just going to add it dry. I don't need to activate it again. But see, now I've added my blue. You can do it with any of your colors. But I do it mostly like if I just want to add a little bit darker bits of that particular color, I'll go through and just shade it out. So yeah, that's all you do. When I'm doing like wood grain and stuff like that, I tend to do it a lot more. But like, as you can see, these are already darker now that I added the nightshade in there. And then I can even take my nightshade here, pull it out. You can go on top, but this, you don't want to use too much water on a piece of paper because if it's already pilling, you're not going to be able to go over and add a dry layer either. It's not going to look right. But see, just added some shadow there. I could literally do this all day. It would if you let me. I'll sit there and be like, let's add shading here and here. When you copy a page for no, I don't actually ever really, I mean, I most of the time use Inktense in the book that they're like in. But say, because even like the Teresa Goodridge books and the crappy paper that those are now, I still use Inktense on those. But if it's like Create Space paper or really awful paper, then yes, I'll put it on the Nina paper that I typically use, which is in the description. You have to actually scroll down for that. I realize when I tell people it's in the description, I should be more specific. It's down there because it's like one of my commonly used products. So I have a list of like those. That's where you'll find it. So just scroll till you get to that. It's not at the top. But yeah, I feel like it's really, really bad paper, then I'll put it on that Nina one. I don't use marker paper for these. And I don't put it on watercolor paper, but the reason for that is I don't put watercolor paper through my printer because I do not want to scratch the print head on a laser jet. So that's why. And why do I know that? Because I did that to my last laser printer, and that's why everything I printed had a little line through it, because watercolor paper scratched the heckaroo out of it. So I'll use my Nina, but I won't put like watercolor paper, and I don't use marker paper for Inktense. I saw another thing. Yeah, I mean, Inktense, so Inktense are meant to be activated. You put them down and you activate them. You can put them down and use them as your, whatchamacallit, as your base. But really, Inktense are meant to be activated, not just used dry. But you go back in with them just to accent or add some shading because it faded out with too much water, or you just didn't put down enough color. But you can also go back in and add a second layer. You don't even have to shade dry. You could add a second layer and then activate that. Or you can take your brush and take color from the tip and then add it directly to the paper where you want it darker, like that. So there's a ton of ways, but you should always activate your Inktense first. I mean, you paid all the money for the glory that is Inktense. Gotta activate them, because like I said, they look pretty dry, yes, but they explode when they are activated. They just are amazing to look at. They're intense. Inktense. But yeah, I don't just sit there with them dry. I definitely activate them. Now, if you want to use them dry, to each their own. Like I said, no rules, but that's just something I do and I recommend. They are very pretty activated. This is one wacky. I'm just gonna make that go like that. Honestly, I feel like they're not given their full potential if they're not activated. Because they're so pretty. And then, like I said, it's very relaxing to just sit there and activate them. What can I say? It's a good form of art therapy. Activating your Inktense pencils. And while we're on the topic, Inktense are not watercolor pencils. I will say that every time if I have to. A pet peeve. They are, in fact, a dye-based, water-activated, but they are not watercolor pencils. These bad boys are permanent. You can literally use these on clothes. Like you can color, yeah. Listen, I said it's better that way. Not a rule, better that way. But you can actually like color clothes with these and wash the clothes, and these will not come off. These are permanent. I've actually seen some really cool, like people will do little tote bags with Inktense. Pretty cool. You should look it up. But these are definitely not watercolor pencils. Oh, I see, Shannon. I was like, I was suggesting. I didn't give a rule. I guess one rule is don't call them watercolor pencils. There, I have a one rule. That's only because it's a pet peeve of mine. But in all fairness, Derwent kind of screwed themselves on that one because they didn't make it very clear, and their wording doesn't help either. It's like, come on, Derwent. I think they've gone back and like fixed the wording since then. This was like a few years ago though. There was like a huge debate. People are like, no, they're not watercolor pencils. Yes, they are. Like, oh my. But yeah, once you put these down, these are permanent. Like watercolors, you can lift, you can move, you can reactivate. These bad boys, once they're activated, there is no turning back. So once you put the color down, make sure that's where you want it before you activate it. Like, because I've put color down with Inktense, and then changed my mind and gone in and erased it before I activated it. But once you activate it, yeah, you're kind of stuck there. You're going to have to cover it up. All right. I have rules. I'm going to switch to my Tombow and see if this one gets these ones up here a little. Stay on screen. Oh, wow. It's already almost been 2 hours. Inktense flies by. Now, I know it doesn't look like it, but believe it or not, Inktense for me are a faster pencil than, like, say if I did this with Prisma. And yeah, it doesn't look like it because I'm, like, still working on this same part with the same 4 colors. But if I was sitting here doing this with Prisma, I probably would have only gotten that done. So, they are a quicker medium. Once you get the hang of them, I should say. It's kind of like markers. You can color a page with markers way faster once you get the hang of them. Like anywhere I see my nightshade, I'm trying to just grab it in one go and drag it. I have a lot of tutorials on my channel for Inktense, so if you guys ever want to look at those, go for it. In fact, I have one video on just the ways to activate it. I suggest you watch that first. And then I have plenty of live streams and then just little tutorials with Inktense. I believe I have a color along. Yeah, I do. I have a color along. But I do need to make some more Inktense tutorials, especially when it comes to more advanced techniques. I need to turn this though. But I have, I know I have tutorials using the alcohol marker and water brush. I think I have one on there with the Tombow, which is a colorless blender, but it's water-based. Not my favorite way, but it still works for those who want to try that method. The Tombow method, I mean. I love the alcohol marker one. Going back to my Kuretake. See, and what's funny is I use Inktense more on Kerby books than any other artist. In fact, I have one page. I gotta find it and like post a picture. So it was one back when he did all the crazy doodles and hidden objects. And so I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna use Inktense and do a straight up rainbow of colors across the whole thing, like not even caring what I was coloring. I covered everything, but it actually turned out really good. But I end up using Inktense in Kerby books more than any other artist. I don't know why. Just something about his books. Him and Teresa Goodridge, I use Inktense in a lot. Surprisingly, I don't in Johanna Basford. But yeah, Kerby books get the most Inktense attention from me. Make sure that's... Inktense can be intimidating, I get it. Because when I first got them, like I said, I was like, what the heck am I doing with these pencils? And it takes some practice and, you know, and then of course you kind of pick up like little tricks, you know, like going back and shading and all that. So just got to go with it. Yeah, activating with the water brush, you need to squiggle around. Although there's times I'll do straight activation if I'm wanting to keep my lines. Like so, because I have some pages where I actually have created wood grain when there was no wood grain there before. So to keep the wood grain, I'll activate straight up and down, straight up and down. But you have to do that with a fatter brush so that you don't create a water line. And then also, like if I'm doing just regular colors, I will do a little bit of a squiggly, but it kind of depends on the situation and colors that are in the way, because you need to wipe off your brush, but you also need to move quick enough to not leave a water line. So there's a few different ways to activate, because you'll notice when I've been activating, sometimes I'm squiggling it in, other times I'm just doing a line and dragging it, but it depends on the color I'm activating and where I'm dragging that color to. But really, you just got to practice and play with Inktense, and eventually you kind of pick up your own little tips and tricks. Because like with any pencil, we're all different. Like how I use Prismas is not how everyone else uses Prismas. And that's okay. Yeah, I think this will look good with the black glitter. Ooh, it's gonna look cool. She's gonna look so evil. I mean, I still don't know about the rest of this, but I at least got that planned. Patience. See, and what's funny is I have more patience doing Inktense than other things. I don't know. Like if I want to get a page done fast, I either break out my Prismas or my Inktense. I'm like, here we go. Page done super quick. One thing I don't do in Inktense is portraits. So there's that one. I won't touch that. That's just a preference though. Because I need to be able to flick in hair. I just have to. It's like almost a learned response now. Oh my goodness, my stomach is growling. Why? All right. I mean, on this one, I'll be doing it with the Inktense, but I don't normally do portraits with Inktense. I could try one day. The problem is so where's my thing here? So the problem is you don't have any like traditional, just if you were looking at Inktense as they are now, you don't have any traditional skin tone colors, right? So if I were to make a portrait or do skin tones with Derwent Inktense, I would have to do very light layers, and some of these colors I would actually need to put on a palette and water down. But I would tell you right now that I would use Willow, Crimson, Madder Brown, a little bit of Oxide Red, something more chestnutty. I'd actually probably toss in a little bit of the natural brown if I was doing more of just a pale skin. And then I'd probably end up having to water down my Sicilian mixed with saddle brown. And then I would probably toss in a very light wash of the crimson. Yeah, it wouldn't be straightforward. Oh my gosh. I'll try it one day. I'll sit there and do a little science experiment. But a lot of it would be light layers and watered down colors to create like the skin tones. And I am an impatient colorist, so I don't know if I would have the patience to sit there and do that, but maybe one day when I'm really feeling it, I will do that. It was a good question. It's just a very complicated answer, as you can see. Because I would have to do that, and then color with that, and then blend that on a palette, and then water it down, and then paint it on manually. Willow is a really good color. Like it can work for skin tones, but other than that, you got to get creative with everything else. Oh, I'm not doing skin tone with Inktense anytime soon. like I, like I said, I would have to really be in the mood because when I go to do portraits, I typically go to a certain set of pencils for that. And to sit there and do all that mixing and blending, ugh. Because I don't typically do layers in the way I color, except with skin. That's about the only time you catch me layering. And even then, I try to do as few layers as possible. But to do skin tone with Inktense, I would be there doing a lot of layers, and then I'd have to wait for it to dry before I could do the next layer. And that's the other thing. I'd have to put it on some paper that could handle a few layers of water. Because if it starts to pill, well, then all that hard work just went right down the drain. But I will give it a shot one day. Soon-ish, TM. Right now I'm working on the hair color combos and the regular combos. So my plate's a little full, but I'll put that on the back burner. I have a whole list called the back burner in my Asana. I'll just throw it in there. Make a portrait with Inktense. The hair I could probably pull off. Would be interesting. But yeah, I want to finish this combo series I'm working on right now because I want to finish it. All right. Okay, so what we're gonna do, make sure you have your entry for the book. It's just fairy tale, one word. Caps don't matter. Only put it in once. Even if you got booted out, it saves it, so do not put it in again. So we'll do the giveaway. Nightbot is going to select someone, but let me give you the rules. Okay. So, as always, this giveaway is not sponsored, endorsed, or any of the likes by Kerby, Amazon, and or YouTube. I am the one that will be responsible for sending the book. Second is you must be able to receive packages from Amazon US because this is going to be US only. Sorry, but currency rates and all that you guys can understand, right? Let's see. Third, you just need to email me. If you are picked as the winner, you'll need to email me today. Not necessarily saying I'll get back to you today, but email me today so that someone does not impersonate you because that does happen. And then you must be in the stream at the time your name is picked. So we'll have Nightbot pick a name. We'll give that person a minute because, sometimes people take a second. In fact, we need to put a time limit on it because sometimes we wait for a while. So you will get 2 minutes to respond. And if you don't respond, then we're going to pull a new name. But you do have to be in the stream at the time the name is pulled. So obviously if anyone is watching this on a replay, the giveaway is not active. It was only for in-stream only. Apologies for my Aussie friends. Then what am I forgetting? I think that's it. Yeah, you just have to be in the stream at the time. So I am going to have our friend Nightbot pick a name. And then just remember you have 2 minutes to say it's me. All right. Let's see. All right. And let's hope it actually picks someone that did the keyword. It's been doing fine lately, but coloring a latte. I love those names. Oh, and she just entered. Lucky Sneaky Duck. Well, look at that. You have won yourself a book. Also, I like the name, Coloring a Latte. All right, so you need to shoot me an email. Let me type it in. Shoot me an email ASAP so that we can get your info. Wait, oh, why did I even go to type it? Shannon's here. Thank you, Shannon. So yeah, send an email to that email address that Shannon put there today, please, so that nobody impersonates you. Because like I said, that happens a lot. It's really sad. But I always get like people a few days later, they're like, hi, it's me. And I'm like, no, it's not you. The real you messaged me. So it's sad. But yeah, shoot me a message. And then I'll probably get back to you like tomorrow-ish and we'll get your info. I felt so bad. Oh my gosh. The last giveaway, I was like, okay, I'm so sorry about that. Here's your giveaway. I just now sent them. It was a long, crazy 2 weeks, the last 2 weeks, so my apologies there, but they did get sent out. I just felt bad. It's like I didn't forget. I really didn't forget. It was on my to-do list. It was just like every time I went to get on to my email, I had like 50 million other things, and I was like, oh crap. So then when I went to start this live stream, I was like, oh wait, I gotta do this. So yeah, this week is a little busy for me, but I will not forget. I'm just trying to do last minute edits so I can get my book over to the ARC readers. Oh, for those of you that do follow my book stuff, I do have a Patreon, but you don't have to pay to be on my Patreon. You can be a free member. But I suggest signing up there because then it'll at least email you and notify you when I put new posts up for free people as well. Like you don't have to be paid again. But I'm doing that instead of a newsletter because I had a newsletter and it was just getting too much. I had a newsletter, I had a blog, I have social media, I have TikTok, which is social media, but you know what I mean. And I was like, okay, so I put it on Patreon, and that's why I can have free members as well so that you guys get updates. So you'll get like the same updates you would from signing up from a newsletter, but it saves me from having to have a bajillion different places to go and update because I was losing my mind. It was unreal. I was sitting there like one day doing a blog, and then I was like, okay, now I gotta do my newsletter. And then I'm like, okay, now I gotta update social. And I'm like, okay, no, I need one platform here. So yeah, I did move that over. So if you did sign up for the newsletter, I did send out a thing in my last newsletter saying everything was moving over to Patreon. So just FYI, if you didn't open that. But because the newsletter did have like little things in there, or has little things in there. All right, I think it's looking good. I think this will look really good with, yeah, with all the other stuff. As for the other colors, though, I don't know. Because I do want to do a blood red color down. I'm not feeling the blood red color anymore. Yeah, I'm definitely going to have like the rest of this will be the purple and blue. I have to bring for page balance. I'm going to have like these flames down here off all the candles will be the purple and blue as well. And then I'm going to start mixing in like blacks and stuff down here. I definitely know that. So this will be really dark, like dark purples and black. And then the flames will be the lighter purples and stuff. And then, I don't know, I'm going to have to think on it. Where I'll go from there. Might even just add, because yeah, the blood red idea just isn't working anymore with these colors. At least not what I was picturing in my head. We'll see. I might have to just do some darker blues or grays. I think her skin I'm gonna do in like a gray. Yeah, maybe. Hard to say. But still, I had fun with the flame colors. So, step one. Like us sitting here like, ooh, I like these colors. I'll go with this. So sometimes when I plan a page, I literally like pick those colors. And then I'm like, okay, now I got to figure out how to make the rest of the page actually work with all of these colors. And that's just how it goes sometimes. But other times I like plan out a page fully, but that's pretty rare for me. I typically fixate on an object that makes me want to color that page. And I pick the colors and then I just kind of find what works after. At least that's how I go about it. Because yeah, I'm just not big on planning. Like I used to pull out palettes and plan, and then I was like, I felt like I was boxed in or I couldn't deviate. So now I just, when I pick a page, I think of, okay, like what drew me to that page? And that's what I pick the color for first. And then everything else, I just have to figure out how to match around it. Is it the best way to do it? No, it actually probably makes it harder, but it's how I work. So works for me. But I was really drawn to like the hair. I mean, it's not really hair, it's flames, but whatever. I was drawn to that, and so that's what kind of, I was like, I'm just going to pick colors for this, and we'll go from there. But it's always fun, like, if you look at other people's videos to see their process for picking colors. Because there's some people that'll plan out a whole page, and I'm like, I wish I could do that. Because then they're not stuck sitting there like I am. Because sometimes I'll have to sit on it for a few days and mull it over and be like, and the next color will be... But I can't ever just plan a full page. Like even before a live stream, I usually just have the one area I know I'm starting with, that color picked out, and then I kind of have to fly by the seat of my pants because that's how I work, but it is what it is. My penguin page. Oh, I think you're talking to Shannon because I was like, I didn't do a penguin page. When will you be able to see the rest of this page done? Well, I'm sure these purple flames are going to take me the rest of the weekend, but I don't know. It's hard to say because I am this week having to work on my book stuff, so I'm not coloring as much, but it'll be done soon-ish. TM. That's my new thing. Soonish. Soonish maybe. I try to work on them quickly, but I can only go so fast when I got everything. I may work on this on camera. I keep trying to save some stuff for my silent coloring channel, and then I always forget. So I really need to do that. So maybe I will do that for this one since it's all set up. But oh, you're so sweet. But I am going to let you guys go because it has been 2 hours, and that is usually my max on a Sunday. I think I did one 4 or 5 hour stream. That was for the 520 brute fooners. I don't make a habit of that though. But yeah, we will see where this goes. I'll put a picture in the community tab and Instagram like I always do because the colors don't always show as nice and vibrant on camera, but they're actually really bright in person. But thanks everyone for hanging out with me this Sunday. I hope you guys have a really good week. And ooh, if you are a diamond painting fan, the limited edition box does come out on the 1st. And Katie with Diamonds and Washi actually has one. So she's going to do a video that morning if you want to see it. So she's got one. But it does come out on the 1st. And the custom pens for that one are really cute. I need to put pictures up. So just FYI, because I know quite a few of you are also in the diamond painting realm and go to my shop. But it is coming out on the 1st. But remember, it's 8 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, not Eastern. Because I've had a few people that log in on Eastern and they miss it because that's 6 a.m. my time and I haven't posted it. So they think it's gone. But yeah, so just keep in mind, 8 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. And then they usually sell out. Well, lately they've been selling out before like that evening. So as long as you're there before noon, you should be able to snag one. Just FYI. All right. You guys have a good weekend and a good rest of March. And I will talk to you soon. All right. Bye now.